The stage was set for what was supposed to be an exciting night on Jimmy Kimmel Live. As one of Hollywood's most charismatic stars, Michael B. Jordan made his way onto the set, known for his powerful roles in Creed, Black Panther, and Fruitvale Station. Michael isn't just a box office star, he's also one of the most respected actors of his generation. Fans were buzzing on social media, eagerly anticipating the charming banter between the smooth-spoken actor and the always playful Jimmy Kimmel. As the music played and Michael took his seat, it seemed like another feel-good Hollywood moment. But what was meant to be a casual, promotional interview took a turn no one expected, turning into a tense exchange that would end with Michael B. Jordan walking off live television in front of a stunned studio audience. Things started off easy enough, with Jimmy offering compliments on Michael's upcoming movie and asking about his recent directorial efforts. Michael, dressed in a crisp dark suit and smiling coolly, responded warmly, sharing stories from the set and dropping hints about his next big project. But as Kimmel is known for pushing buttons in the name of comedy, the mood began shifting as soon as he brought up Michael's high-profile relationship history. With a smirk, Jimmy leaned in and asked, "So, is it true you're still dodging the Lori Harvey questions like you dodge punches in Creed?" The crowd erupted in laughter, but Michael's smile faded just slightly, and his eyes gave away the first signs of discomfort. Michael attempted to play it off with a half-laugh, saying, "You know, I don't really talk about that, man." But Jimmy, clearly trying to chase a viral moment, wouldn't drop it. "Come on, you have to give us something. At least tell us if the DMs are flooded now or not." The audience laughed again, but this time Michael's tone changed. "I'm here to talk about the film," he said sharply, still keeping his composure but obviously annoyed. Jimmy chuckled nervously, but continued, "Fair, fair. But don't you think the public kind of deserves a little peek into the private life of someone as famous as you?" That was when the tension in the room became undeniable. Michael leaned forward, his expression serious. "Actually, I don't owe anyone anything when it comes to my personal life." The audience went quiet. Jimmy tried to save face by steering the conversation back to the film, but the energy was already off. He made a light comment about method acting, referencing how Michael stayed in character even off set. "Do you ever drop the tough guy act? Or is it just Michael B. Jordan all the time?" Jimmy said with a grin. Michael didn't find it funny. "There's no act. I'm not playing tough. This is me. What you see is what you get," he replied firmly. Now, the interview was no longer banter, it was a standoff. Trying to claw his way back into safe territory, Jimmy complimented Michael's physique for the role, joking, "You make the rest of us look like we don't even try at the gym." But even that seemed to hit wrong. Michael replied flatly, "It's discipline, not just muscles. It's about respect for the craft." Jimmy laughed awkwardly and said, "Well, I guess I'll leave the respect and keep the cheeseburgers." It was a weak attempt to lighten the mood, but Michael didn't even crack a smile. The vibe had shifted so dramatically that the crew backstage reportedly began signaling each other, unsure whether to keep filming or cut to a break. What happened next shocked everyone watching. Jimmy, perhaps out of desperation, brought up Michael's time on The Wire and made an offhand comment that many felt crossed the line. "Hard to believe the kid from The Wire grew up to be a sex symbol," he said with a laugh. Michael stared at him, visibly insulted. That kid had talent. That kid was serious. That kid deserved respect too, not just admiration after he got ABS. The audience was stunned. For a moment, no one knew what to say. Jimmy looked taken aback, trying to pivot again, but it was clear that Michael had had enough. Michael sat back in his chair, shook his head, and said, "You know, I thought this was going to be a conversation, not a roast." Jimmy quickly responded, "Hey, come on now, we're just having fun." But Michael cut him off. "You're having fun at my expense." The crowd gasped. Without saying another word, Michael unclipped his mic, stood up, and calmly walked off the set. The live audience erupted in confused murmurs, some standing to see what was happening. Jimmy sat there frozen, still holding his cue card, blinking in disbelief as the camera abruptly cut to commercial. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of the walkout flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with hashtags like #MichaelWalksOut and #KimmelDrama trending worldwide. Fans were divided as some applauded Michael for standing his ground, while others thought he should have handled it more diplomatically. Memes appeared instantly, showing screenshots of his stern expression with captions like "This is not a drill" and "When respect is no longer mutual." The clip was replayed by every major outlet by morning, and commentary flooded in from celebrities and talk show hosts alike, many of whom called out Kimmel for going too far. The next day, Michael B. Jordan's team released a short but pointed statement. Michael respects his fans, his work, and himself. Last night's interview crossed boundaries he's repeatedly made clear in public appearances. He chose to leave rather than compromise his integrity. That single paragraph spoke volumes. Kimmel's camp responded later that day with an apology, reading, "Jimmy regrets the tension that arose during last night's segment and apologizes if his comments were taken out of context or caused offense." But many felt the damage was already done, and some fans even began circulating petitions urging Michael to boycott future late-night appearances. In the days that followed, major media outlets covered the fallout from every angle. Analysts debated whether late-night television was out of touch with modern celebrities who value authenticity over antics. One viral op-ed read, "Michael B. Jordan didn't walk off a show, he walked into history, demanding dignity over drama." Fellow actors like Lupita Nyong'o and Denzel Washington were rumored to have privately reached out to him, offering words of support. The conversation had clearly moved beyond just one awkward interview. It became a discussion about how black male celebrities are often treated in media spaces. Meanwhile, Kimmel tried to move on with business as usual. In his next episode, he addressed the situation briefly during his monologue, saying, "Things got a little too real last night. I guess not everyone enjoys my sense of humor." While the studio audience laughed, viewers at home weren't all amused. Critics said the apology lacked sincerity, and many accused Kimmel of brushing off accountability. Several clips from the Michael B. Jordan episode were quietly removed from the show's official YouTube channel, and comments on the remaining clips were flooded with fan outrage. Michael, on the other hand, remained composed and kept a low profile. He was spotted a few days later attending a community event in Newark, New Jersey, where he met with students and gave a short speech about self-respect and media narratives. Without referencing the incident directly, he said, "Never let anyone tell your story for you. Speak your truth and walk away if they try to twist it." The applause he received there was arguably louder than any he would have gotten on Kimmel's stage. Fans began hailing him as a role model for handling adversity with grace and power. As the week went on, several talk show hosts took sides, to some in solidarity with Kimmel, calling the incident a miscommunication, while others sided with Michael, saying the era of mocking guests for laughs needs to end. Trevor Noah made a cheeky remark on his podcast, "When Michael B. Jordan walks out, you know it's serious. That man doesn't miss a step on screen or off." His comment sparked more discussions around evolving media standards and the balance between entertainment and empathy, especially when hosting deeply thoughtful public figures. Fans of Michael B. Jordan began sharing stories of how he has always presented himself as dignified, focused, and deeply committed to both his roles and his values. From mentoring young actors to starting his own production company to ensure diverse stories are told, his actions have always spoken louder than any headlines. Supporters argued that someone who puts so much heart into their work deserves to be treated with more than just surface-level jokes. They celebrated his refusal to laugh off disrespect and admired his willingness to stand firm on national television. In the following month, Michael did his first public interview since the incident, choosing a sit-down with a respected journalist over another talk show host. He discussed his career, his goals as a director, and briefly addressed the Kimmel episode by saying, "Sometimes silence and walking away speaks louder than any argument. I'm not about drama, I'm about purpose." His poise and composure during the interview only strengthened his public image, while many noted that he'd taken control of the narrative with elegance and strength, leaving the late-night chaos far behind him. Industry insiders revealed that several PR teams had updated their media prep after watching how quickly things spiraled on Kimmel's show. New boundaries were being set more firmly, and the incident began to influence how publicists handled guest appearances. Meanwhile, streaming services and producers reportedly saw an uptick in interest around Michael's upcoming projects, signaling that far from harming his brand, the walkout had only amplified his influence. He wasn't just the star of the story, he had taken the pen and rewritten how it would be told. In the end, Michael B. Jordan's dramatic exit from Jimmy Kimmel Live was more than a viral moment. It became a cultural signal that respect can't be negotiated for clout, and not all stars are willing to be reduced to punchlines. While late-night talk shows have long thrived on edgy humor, this incident forced a reckoning with how far is too far. For Michael, it was never about ego, it was about principle. He walked off, not out of weakness, but with the strength of someone who knows exactly who he is and what he stands for. And that walk was louder than any applause.